Well, good morning and welcome to Wake Up in the Word. We are finishing up Psalm 71 today, a beautiful psalm. I hope you'll join me. It's time to put down the cup of coffee and get into the Word. You know, this is one of those beautiful psalms. It was written by an older person. We don't know if it comes from the days of Samuel, of Hezekiah, Jeremiah, or even David. And I'm kind of glad it's anonymous because it fits so many various circumstances. There's a hint we're going to see in this passage today that might let us know where it came from, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So listen, if you're like me, maybe you're getting a little bit older, and when you get up in the morning, you sound like the bowl of Kellogg's cereal, you know, snap, crackle, pop. You wonder, what in the world am I going to have to face today? And you have doubts about your own physical prowess now and your abilities. Yet your wisdom really matters to God, and it's wisdom you need to pass along. That's why the last part of this psalm emphasizes the testimony of the older person who needs to share the mighty works of God and tell them to your children, to your grandchildren, to your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, to your church members, so that the word continues. Beginning in verse 16, let's see what he has to say. I will come and proclaim your mighty acts, O sovereign Lord. There's our Adonai Yahweh again, sovereign Lord. I will proclaim your righteousness, yours alone. Since my youth, O God, you have taught me, and to this day I declare your marvelous deeds. Even when I am old and gray, do not forsake me, O God, till I declare your power to the next generation, your might to all who are to come. Do you see the drive here to share the testimony of the Lord, to pass along the good words and the good knowledge of the Lord our God? Verse 19, your righteousness reaches the skies, O God. You who have done great things, who, O God, is like you? Though you have made me see troubles many and bitter, you will restore my life again. From the depths of the earth, you will again bring me up. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. I will praise you with the harp for your faithfulness, O my God. I will sing praise to you with the lyre, O Holy One of Israel. And my lips will shout for joy when I sing praise to you, I whom you have redeemed. My tongue will tell of your righteous acts all day long, for those who wanted to harm me have been put to shame and confusion. Now, where have you got a passage where the enemies of the Lord have been put to such shame and confusion, where they have been completely destroyed, even though they outnumbered and outgunned, I guess you could say, the armies of Israel, and it looked like they would lose everything? We know even in history, we've seen wars of the regathered nation of Israel that have been similar to that. From their founding to the Six-Day War in 1967, the Yom Kippur War, and it seems like every other time violence breaks out against the land of Israel, it seems like God intervenes on behalf of His people. So, as we look to that, is there a passage that reminds us of this? I think the hint is found in verse 22, because we have a name of God that we don't see very often in Scripture. He says, I will praise you with the harp for your faithfulness, O my God, and that's Elohim, which we see quite often. But then he says, I will sing praise to you with the lyre, O Holy One of Israel. The Holy One of Israel, as a name for God, is Kedosh Yisrael. The first time you see it in Scripture is not until 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 22. This is a time when Isaiah is prophesying against Sennacherib, the king of the Assyrians, who is coming against the people of Judah to attack them and to destroy them and take them captive. And God stands up for them. They win the battle, and just as Isaiah prophesied, the Assyrians go back home kind of with their tail tucked between their legs in defeat. Matter of fact, he has an interesting description in that prophecy when God says to the king of Assyria, I'll put a hook in your nose. I'll put a hook in your nose and I will drag you back to your homeland. That's exactly what he did when thousands upon thousands of the Assyrians died in their attack against Judah, because God stepped in with his angel. And so here in 2 Kings 19:22, God is referred to by the prophet Isaiah as the Holy One of Israel, your Kedash Yisrael, the one who stepped in and saved Hezekiah's kingdom. It's also interesting to note that in Isaiah itself, in Isaiah's prophecy, the book of Isaiah chapter 29 verses 18 and 19, we have another reference using this same name of God. And it makes us think about what happens as we get older. Listen carefully. When that day comes, the deaf will hear the words written in the book. The blind will see out of their gloom and darkness. Humble people again will find joy in Yahweh. The poorest of people will find joy in Kedash Yisrael. Notice some of the very things that happen to us as we get older. Our hearing begins to go. We can't hear anymore. Our eyesight begins to fade. We can't see the way we used to. Humility sometimes comes because our resources are down as well as our physical prowess. And then it says the poorest of people will find joy in Kedash Yisrael. What happens to many, one of the reasons why in our country things like Social Security were started is many people ended their life in poverty. Things didn't go their way and they ended up the poorest of the poor by the time they died. Well, it's interesting that this Holy One of Israel says, look to me. When these things start taking place in your life, I'm with you. I am right there beside you. I am for you, and I'll not forsake you even until the end of the age. So you'll notice this older man is sharing the wonderful grace of God. He's sharing the news. He says, my tongue will tell of your righteous acts all day long. So if you feel like you're just surrounded, and sometimes we feel surrounded by circumstances. It can just be the fact that, oh my goodness, how many things are going wrong today? I've got bad news in the mailbox. I've got bad news from the doctor. My children are going crazy. My car is broken down. The rent is due and I don't have it. And you keep going on and on and on. And it seems like the enemies are just surrounding you, waiting to consume you. Listen, that's when you need to call on the Holy One of Israel. He is for you. And He is all these things that each of one of these names of God points out in Psalm 71. He's going to be there to support you and help you regardless of your circumstances. We've got a God we can depend on, my friends. And let's be like this older person who says, I'm going to praise you. I'm going to sing praise to you. My lips will shout for joy when I sing praise to you, I whom you have redeemed. That's our God. That's our Kedash Yisrael today. Aren't you glad you can depend on Him for support regardless of what's going on? Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Let's do this again tomorrow as we look at Psalm 72. If you like our devotions, just hit that like button and maybe subscribe, and we'll just keep them coming as we get all the way through the book of Psalms and then wherever else the Lord takes us on Wake Up in the Word. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow right here.